So, on today's podcast, you're going to meet the hosts. I'm Chance. I have a ton of experience in random shit, and this is Alex.
I'm Alex. I also have a lot of experience in random shit.
Both of us have super diverse backgrounds.
Yeah.
We definitely don't come from one thing at
No,
all.
gosh,
We've
no.
we've we've got a plethora of stuff under our belts, which makes us really good partners, honestly. Like
hmm
we have so many things combined that it's like, how in the world are y'all even where you're at today? Like, it's
hmm
just an interesting story. Um, so I figured let's talk about yours. Let's go with you.
I started really, really young, but it was all like unformalized stuff. It was just kind of me doing random gigs here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I started working at a company called Chipotle that I started to get more formalized training.
Okay.
So, those of you who don't know Chipotle, Mexican grill,
Yeah.
they are a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
However, they have an awesome company culture behind them. The entire way through, we had an amazing regional manager who each step of the way, he really like poured into me and invested into me, where he would walk through like, how do you train up employees?
Mm-hmm.
How do you empower them? How do you create schedules? Like just the simplest stuff. But it was an amazing couple of years because I learned so many foundational like business leadership tactics and
Yeah.
ideas and philosophies that stick with me to this day that I think back to honestly when I'm making decisions for my companies now.
Okay.
And after I left that, I ended up going to there's an online place where you can buy business called Flippa. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of things like Flippa.
Yeah.
Never, but I just joined one actually a few weeks ago.
Flippa was the one you just go on there and there's lots of businesses on there. And so I was exiting Chipotle and I didn't know what I was going to do next. But, at Chipotle, I had gained a lot of business experience. I decided, well, the next logical step is, I kind of want to see if I can do this on my own. I've always kind of gone at things with the mindset of, I want to kind of like, I've always likened it to like Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
And then, like, I want to gain experiences like Infinity Stones
Yep.
because they are like truly almost as powerful,
Right.
different experiences. And so I think at that point, I was like, okay, I am exiting this part of my life. It was an amazing period of my life.
Let's do
And
something totally different.
yes,
Yeah.
what's another stone I can collect?
Which is what you and I have in common a lot. And you'll
Mhm.
see that when I tell my story too, is like, we both went from one thing and was like, let's do something totally different. And so your
Yeah.
next thing was you went to Flippa, you found a business, and that
I
was what?
Yes. So I went there and I found it and I bought it. I found a company that whenever I was going through the due diligence process, I was talking with the guy who owned it.
Mm-hmm.
And just as he was talking through everything, the logistics of how they got the products and because it was an e-commerce store,
Right.
how they got it, how they shipped it, the manufacturers he dealt with and the marketing and all this stuff, yada yada yada. I just started seeing like glaring holes. And I was
Right.
like thinking to myself in that meeting, like, how do you not see like these are such easy fixes?
Mm-hmm.
How do you not see these? And so I was like, yes, I will buy it. The guy had an amazing brand
Mm-hmm.
behind the business. These beautiful, he went all the way to France,
That's crazy.
had these watches. It was a watch e-commerce store with these watches, with these beautiful models out in France. And he had great photography all over the social profiles, all over the website for each and every watch that he sold. Amazing brand behind it. He invested a lot into that, but the product was terrible. I ended up buying it and I just instantly just thought through the business from start to finish and identified all of the areas of greatest opportunity to level up the product quality
Yeah.
of the watches. I had fixed up a lot of the problems. I had redone basically every step of their logistics system.
Yeah.
From where they got the bands of the watches to the faces of the watch, all new manufacturers. And the watches were, in my opinion, I'm no I don't have Rolexes or anything, but
Right.
they were really,
It was a
really
much
good
better
watch.
product at
Much,
the end of
much
the day.
better product, which obviously increased the enterprise value. And I was actually able to list it back on Flippa 3 months later, and to its name, Flippa,
Yeah.
able to flip the website
Yeah.
and sold it for like, I think 4x what I had paid
Wow.
for it 3 months
So it was
prior.
100% worth all the time you put into
Oh,
it.
definitely.
Yeah.
And then I started at True Green, sales rep. I don't know if you remember earlier, I said I was at college for computer science.
Right.
And
which most computer science majors aren't salesmen.
they're not salesmen. No, they're not. They're not. They are. I was very much introverted. I did not like going up and like talking to random people.
Right.
And for this position, like 95% of the sales came from door to door. Computer guy doing door to door sales for a lawn care company, fertilizer, weed control, stuff like that. I was very bad at first. I still remember there was one time I went up to this person's door, and very nice. We're talking like $1 million homes.
Yeah.
And I knocked on the door. I took a couple steps back, and I started doing my typical thing. And some very nice elderly woman opened up the door, and all I remember is once she opened up the door, it was like the air came out of me. Like I could not think of what to say, or I literally just kind of like mumbled, "Your weeds, they're bad." and I remember this. Her husband came, and apparently he had heard that, and he came up to the door, and then he pushed the wife back inside, and then he was like, "Hey man, you're here selling something, like tell me all about it." He was super cool.
Oh, that's
super cool. And he didn't end up buying, but he had apparently done door-to-door sales whenever he was younger as well. He told me something. He said, the fastest way you learn is by doing something, doing it wrong, and just remembering not to do that thing again.
Yeah. Your greatest lessons are learned in your failures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And super nice about it. And I remember after that, I kind of went at it with that mindset of door-to-door sales. I went on doing that for a couple more months, and eventually I started getting to the top, 1 to 2 positions. That was really awesome because I learned that, within like marketing and sales, it's all about how you phrase what you have and the problem that the other person has. If your offer is phrased in a way, even in those most uncomfortable circumstances, they will buy. People will buy.
We will get into how to phrase that the right way and all of that in a whole other podcast, because sales, door-to-door sales, everything is a whole entire topic.
I felt like I had already gotten to where I could within the company. I was constantly number 1 or number 2, and I was already, I don't know, at that point, like 4 or 5 months into the company. And so I ended up leaving there. I didn't have a job right afterwards. But after I left, what I ended up doing was I partnered up with a company overseas, Africa Inland Mission, AIM, and I went to South Africa, Namibia, Lesotho for about 6 weeks.
Okay.
And there I was kind of like the tech guy there. And so we would go around and we would help set up like network infrastructures and stuff like that. And then I came back to the States, met this Robert guy with Building Brands Marketing, where we actually know each other. We hit it off, and I started working with him, and it was a marketing firm. He was the sales guy. I was the developer, technical mind in the background.
Right.
All of the skills I had learned from Lupe Watches, which was the company that I had bought after Chipotle, from True Green, those door-to-door sales, and from working overseas in those cross-functional teams, setting up network infrastructures. I was able to take all of that and implement it into marketing strategies for clients. And help those small businesses grow. And I am still doing that to this day. I'm now a partner at the company, and I run the whole digital side of the firm. So any of the work that we do for our clients, I oversee those teams, and and work with some really amazing, smart people that have also taught me a lot along the way. But yeah, that's kind of my experience in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah. We have so much in common that's not in common, if that's a good
Yeah.
way to put it. Like
Mm-hmm.
how our paths kind of come together is very common.
Mm-hmm.
Our paths are so different, like I didn't go to college at all, period. All of mine was all experience, basically starting at my firefighter job.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So right out of high school, I went into the fire service. And long story short, on the fire service, I was a firefighter for right at 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Alongside of being a firefighter, you work a 48-96 schedule. So you're on 2 days and you're off for 4 days. So there's a lot of time to try new ventures, try new things, do all kinds of new stuff, right? And so the first thing that I did, somewhat similar to you, was the lawn care company.
Yeah.
At the time, I couldn't afford nice equipment, so I was just, pushing around a piece of crap $150 lawnmower and going out and mowing people's lawns for like $30.
No zero turns.
Nothing fancy, but I did my own door-to-door sales.
Mm-hmm.
And I, printed off some cheesy little business cards and went out and started knocking on everybody's doors. And just like you, realized real quickly how to get kicked off people's lawns and how to stay there and talk with them.
Yeah.
And a lot of my clients ended up being like elderly. And I guess I resonated with them more because of, I would say, like my kind of caring background, like the firefighting.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I told them about that, it was like I gained some trust, right? So like,
yeah.
and I always tell people, like, use whatever you have and your background, use it to your advantage, use whatever you've got to your advantage. So I use that a lot in every one of my things that I did. But first one being the lawn care. After that, realized I didn't want to mow lawns with super cheap equipment. And I really didn't want to make a big investment into anything at this point.
Yeah.
And I was like 19 years old, didn't have a ton of money saved up because I was done with my money. Unlike you that saved up and bought a company, I bought like four-wheelers and trucks and, other stuff. But so from lawn care, I then started a pressure washing business for RVs specifically. So in the South Texas area, it's very heavily saturated with RV parks because of snowbirds coming down here. So I would go, once again, door-to-door sales, but to RVs, handing out pressure washing stuff for cleaning their RVs.
Man, that's totally different than $1 million home door-to-door
Totally
sales.
different. We're talking people that pay $300 a month to live.
Yeah.
I mean, so it was brutal. Trying to sell a $400 pressure washing service to somebody who pays $300 a month at an RV site. Good luck. I did it. It taught me a lot about it, but realized maybe I'm not, doing this right or whatever. So stopped doing that. And then I actually got into this, like, right around the time I met Haley. So we're about 4 years into the fire service. At this point, I'm a lieutenant. I still have plenty of time off to explore ventures. So then I tried, a brief history was a little pyramid scheme thing. It was like Thrive. I sold supplements.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say the knife thing.
No,
Was
it was
that Cutco knives?
I did not do Cutco knives. I did not do Cutco knives. I did. It was Thrive something. I don't remember, but it was like vitamins, energy shakes, stuff like that. And dude, I shit you not, I put down like 5,000 on credit cards and was like,
Really?
I was all in.
Oh my God.
100% in. I learned that selling products in that way was not the way to do it. Like there is certain ways to do it in that way. That's another story. But so stopped doing that, realized I didn't want to do that, obviously. And then I was talking with Haley and I'm like, I've done so many different things, all this different stuff. I need to do something else. And she was talking to me about being, maybe a realtor. And, at that point I was like, screw it. I mean, I've done everything else. Might as well. And I'm one that I've always liked to learn new things. Like I never went to college, but I've always like watched videos or took classes, like, all kinds of different certifications I have, on my resume.
Yeah.
And one of them being the real estate license. I went out and did it in about 3 weeks, which was awesome. Most people thought it would take me like half a year to complete, but did it super fast, just dove in. And I went and sold houses for about a year, did great at it. I realized real quickly that there was a lot of money in the construction and flipping and that side of real estate, because when we would sell these houses, I would hire like either handyman or contractors to come in and fix these houses up. And I was like, they're making more than I am. Like they're coming in and fixing these houses, and my commission's check not near theirs. So then talked with Haley again, and we decided to invest into a home.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually bought a home for dirt cheap, flipped it, and that was the most amazing experience ever. I think the best thing that I did was flipping that house with her was just so cool. For me specifically, on the side of, I really learned like true, like independent satisfaction, fulfillment. Like
Mm-hmm.
I did that, like yes, I had help with subcontractors
Mm-hmm.
and things like
Yeah.
that, but like we designed it, we made it come to life, and then we sold it to somebody that
Mm-hmm.
now loves it. Like I drive by that house and I'm like, oh, look, they put a fence in the yard, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so
You took something without much value and
and
you created so
turned
much
it
value out of it.
correct.
Yeah.
And that fulfillment right then and there made me realize I don't get that fulfilled at the fire department. I was a lieutenant. I was at the top. And at this point in my firefighter career, I'd been at the top now for about 3 years. And Haley had recently made a switch in her career.
Mm-hmm.
And man, for a couple of weeks, like, I know she's okay with me talking about this because we just talked about it in our other podcast. She was so depressed, so down. Everything was terrible. And then she found a new job and it was amazing. So like she went through, a little rough time.
Yeah.
And so in my brain, I'm starting to think like, what if I leave the fire department? I put myself in an uncomfortable situation,
Uh-huh.
but maybe things will look better. Like maybe
Yeah.
I'll find something more fulfilling.
Uh-huh.
And right at that time, I've got a old friend that reached out and he's like, hey man, you're a really good person with people. And I'm like, what? Like that's random.
That's a great way to phrase
And
that.
he's like you're a good salesman, but like you're not a pushy salesman. Like you're just good with people. Why don't you come be a car salesman? And at first I'm like, nah, dude. Like I'm not gonna go be a sleazy car salesman. And then I was like, you know what? Right at the time I'm thinking about leaving the fire department, this guy comes with this opportunity. Screw it. So I put my 2 weeks into the fire department. All my family, all my friends are like, what are you doing? Like you're leaving the one thing that has made you money and kept you sustainable and done everything for you. You're going to leave that and go be a freaking car salesman. And I was like, yeah. And I went and did it. And, I was a car salesman for about 4 months. I got towards the top, just like you. And, I learned so much about sales there because we were in trainings every single day. High pressure. And it was in COVID. Like
that was COVID too.
It was during COVID.
Oh.
So very low inventory.
Yeah.
High demand.
Yep.
High competition.
Wow.
Learned tons from it. Did, I think, great at it. And I just realized real quickly, this isn't for me. The salesman, the car salesman specific atmosphere wasn't for me. I don't like taking advantage of people, honestly.
Yeah.
And in the car industry business, that's how you make money. Like and it doesn't even really feel like you're helping someone a lot of people will, say, yes, it is. You're putting them in a vehicle, you're doing all this. And yes, it's true. But to me, I built someone's home basically. Like that was way more fulfilling than this. But I learned a lot from it. And then I got presented with another opportunity. Robert had reached out to me where I had, we had met. And I decided to leave the car service and go sell marketing, for the Building Brands marketing. Started doing that, learned a ton about marketing. Did that for, I think it was right at a year.
Yep.
And right at that time, it was basically either like, I'm either going to get, like, I kind of almost gave an ultimatum. Like, I'm either going to get promoted right now, guys, or I'm going to go do my own thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think BBM was at the place to where like, okay, you need a promotion. We have tons of people. You can be over them. Like it just wasn't there. It wasn't in the cards. And so I was like, you know what? I have a year's worth of marketing experience. Now I have another, sales experience. I have all of my management experience from the fire service, high pressure, intense situations. I was like, I'm going to start my own business. So I started the handyman company, the SmartFix Handyman. And I did that for about a month alongside of the marketing job. And then realized real quickly, one job, I made more money than I did that whole month at the marketing company, right? And I'm like, why am I still here? Like I can go work one weekend and make what I did in 4 weeks of work there. And,
that's a scary jump though.
It is terrifying because like next month, if that job's not there, then I don't make anything.
Yeah.
Right. But I was like, you know what? I've already made a scary jump.
Mm-hmm.
I already left the fire service and went
Mm-hmm.
was a car salesman. So like, screw it. At that point, I left the marketing job, another secure job,
Uh-huh.
and went and started my own business. And then you were like, hey, let's go out to dinner. And we sat down, we talked, and then that's when you decided, hey, I'm going to invest in the company.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And I think it was January I started it. I did it by myself, January, February.
Mm-hmm.
March, you officially came in.
Yep.
And dude, we blew it up. I mean,
Yeah.
with all of your, so I knew marketing, like I knew the
Mhm.
value of it,
Yeah.
right? Because I sold it.
Because you're a project manager.
Yeah,
You worked with the clients.
exactly. But I didn't know exactly how
Uh-huh.
to get me to the top
Yeah.
of Google or to create, an optimized
Mhm.
website.
Yeah.
So when you presented that opportunity, I'm like, heck yeah, let's
Mhm.
jump on this. In the first 3 months of the business, it went from me making like $1,000, $2,000, a month,
Uh-huh.
in January and February to what was our first month was like $9,000, and then it just grew and grew and grew
Mhm.
and grew and grew.
Yep.
And it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. To the point to now, it's like, why don't we do this for other people?
Yeah.
Why? And then Bizwhip, right?
Mhm.
That's when Bizwhip became a thing. Let's start helping other handymen and handy women out there create their own businesses. And
Mhm.
even alongside that, people with pressure washing companies, lawn
Mhm.
care businesses, home services are home services.
Yeah.
I've done all of it. So I know that side, and marketing's marketing,
Uh-huh.
So I mean, with our experience and all of that, it just makes so much sense of where we're at now. But like going from computer science major
Mhm.
at Chipotle and a firefighter with a lawn care business to like
Mhm.
where we're at now is just wild to me. Like
Yeah.
I never in a million years would think that that's where we end up, but that's
Yeah.
where we are.
That's where we are. It's been a wild ride, but man, it just shows for everybody who is uncertain if they should take the leap into
Do it.
doing their business. Like, you will do so many things through your life.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them will be failures, sure. But if you keep doing things, like, you will have a success.
For sure.
And that success will carry on. And through the failures, you will learn way more than you could ever expect.
Yep.
And that's where I'm excited with us and Bizwhip now, of being able to partner with
other.
these people
Yeah.
to make that jump less scary,
Yep.
to help them go from their job where they're making a great salary
Mm-hmm.
to doing their own thing,
Yeah.
to trotting their own path, to
Yeah.
starting their own company and creating wealth for not only them, but when you create a company, you create an asset that then can be sold. And after
Right.
you're gone, you can pass that
And
down to your family.
most people don't even realize that, honestly.
Yes.
Like, it's like, I'm going to fix stuff for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
No, you don't. Structure it in a different way.
Mhm.
Structure it to where it's so beautiful and amazing that you
Mhm.
can sell it to somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, it's, these
Yeah.
diverse backgrounds are just, it's what's made us what we are today.